1980s, Ryan White, a hemophiliac teenager, contracted HIV from a tainted blood transfusion. After his death at the age of 19, Congress passed the Ryan White Care Act in 1990, which defunded states that did not take measures to protect their blood banks and organ donation centers from cross-contamination. Still, some senators argued that these measures did not adequately protect communities, and soon passed the ALEC bill, which contained the HIV Assault Act, or criminal transmission of HIV. Now, over 20 years after the passage of ALEC, Nick Rhodes, a clerk at a family video store in Waverly, Iowa, is experiencing the devastating effects of this outdated and discriminatory legislation. When Rhodes had sex with Adam Plindle, he took every precaution to protect his partner. He used a condom and was in a cocktail of antiretroviral drugs. Rhodes' actions prevented his partner from contracting HIV, but because he did not disclose his HIV-positive status, Rhodes was sentenced to 25 years in prison and given lifetime sex offender status. Unfortunately, cases like Rhodes are not uncommon. Mother Jones of June 21, 2013 notes that 45 states have laws against HIV-positive individuals not disclosing their status during sex, and 13 states have laws against HIV-positive individuals biting or even spitting on another person. This legislation, undoubtedly drafted with the intent to protect communities during a time of fear and uncertainty, is now doing more harm than good and needs a complete overhaul. Today, we'll look at the causes of criminalizing HIV, the effects this is having on society, and finally, offer some opportunities to enact change. Initially, we must understand why current HIV criminalization laws have become archaic amid societal advancement. There are two main causes. First, the misconstrued associations of the laws, and second, the failure to reflect advancements in medical care. First, the official wording of the laws as criminal transmission of human immunodeficiency virus is an inaccurate representation, since transmission does not actually have to occur for felony charges to be pressed. ProPublica of December 1st, 2013 notes that out of 60 cases for which extensive documentation could be obtained, only 4 appear to have actually involved HIV transmission. But the inaccurate and damaging associations don't stop there. In fact, 13 states have laws against spitting, scratching, or biting for HIV-positive individuals, though according to the Center for Disease Control's HIV transmission fact sheet, last updated December 18, 2013, HIV cannot be transmitted through saliva or scratching, and can only be transmitted through biting in extreme cases. Second, the laws fail to take into account medical advancements or preventative actions in determining intent. In Nick Rhodes' case, neither his condom usage nor his antiretroviral medication eased his sentencing, even though they are both considered protective measures. A 2011 study performed by the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease found that patients on antiretroviral drugs had a 96% reduced rate of transmission, which, paired with condom usage, makes transmission extremely unlikely. The laws also disproportionately perpetuate fear of the virus and those living with it. If someone with the flu, for instance, goes into a public place and knowingly puts others at risk, they cannot be criminalized for their illness. Now, this comparison seems like a stretch until we consider the most recent CDC estimates from 2010, when 15,500 people in the US died from HIV/AIDS, while in the same year, close to 49,000, or 3 times as many, died from the flu. Clearly, these laws perpetuate decades-old stigmatization and place an unfair burden on those living with HIV, with little consideration of medical advancements or one's intent to infect another. HIV criminalization laws not only have adverse effects on those living with HIV, but on the entire nation, including the disincentive for getting tested due to fear of being prosecuted and the perpetuation of stigmas surrounding HIV. First, according to the CDC's 2013 National Prevention Progress Report, over 1.1 million Americans are currently infected with HIV, and 1 in 6 of these do not know they are infected. Yet, instead of giving people an incentive to get tested, these laws suggest that ignorance is bliss. In a December 1st, 2013 interview, Scott Schultz, a lawyer at Lambda Legal, a national gay rights advocacy group, explains that because these laws place all of the responsibility on the party that's HIV positive, learning of one's HIV positive status comes with a host of potential legal and criminal concerns. For example, if Nick Rhodes had murdered Adam Plendle in a fit of lover's rage, considered voluntary manslaughter a Class C felony under Iowa's Criminal Code 707, he would have only been sentenced to 10 years in prison, thus lowering his sentence by 15 years. These laws cast HIV-positive individuals as hostile criminals, even when no crime has been committed. Second, these laws perpetuate stigmatization through discrimination. A May 2011 study performed by the University of Vermont found that those living with HIV in non-supportive communities, such as those with HIV criminalization laws, lived in fear of rejection by friends and family and of being socially outcast after disclosing their status, which caused significant amounts of psychological distress, and with good reason. The official website of the U.S. Department of Justice, last updated February 5th, 2014, details scenarios in which HIV-positive individuals have been denied care, from dentists and chiropractors to treatment centers for eating disorders and even alcohol abuse. Without supportive communities, these individuals will never feel comfortable enough to openly communicate their status. Fortunately, there are some solutions at both the institutional and personal level. First, on an institutional level, states need to rewrite their HIV criminalization laws. The publicity of the Nick Rhodes case and an outpouring of support helped Iowa unanimously pass a bill last month to revise their current laws, as reported by the Iowa Daily of March 12, 2014. The new laws take into account risk, preventative action, and whether or not transmission actually occurred, while still charging intentional infection as a serious criminal offense, thereby ensuring that one's punishment more accurately reflects one's actions. For more information on anti-HIV laws and their devastating effects in your state, as well as how you can get involved to stop them, visit this handout, which has a website for HIV law and policy, the center that has more information. Finally, we need, for the 1.1 million friends, family members, and neighbors affected by HIV/AIDS, we need to educate ourselves and others. A November 2010 report by Lambda Legal found that 14% of Americans still believe they can contract HIV from swimming in a pool with someone HIV positive, and 27% believe they can acquire it from a shared drinking glass. Such misinformation allows the fear-driven rhetoric of these laws to persist in 43 states. Thus, one of the best ways to help combat current and future legislation criminalizing HIV, as reported by the Global Commission on HIV and the Law, is to help those around us understand just how problematic and unnecessary many of these laws really are. Had Iowan law not recently been revised, Nick Rhodes would have likely remained a Tier 3 sex offender for life, along with sexually motivated killers and kidnappers, child molesters, rapists, and sex traffickers. In 43 states, this fear is still a prominent concern on the minds of those living with HIV. With an understanding of the causes and devastating effects of these laws, it is clear we need to take action. By joining a movement, educating ourselves and others, and speaking out for change, we can help enact the repeal of these laws and ensure that individuals like Nick Rhodes can have an easier road ahead.